Hey guys, this is just another rant that I just want to get off my chest. I just want to rant about this wedding. They got married. It's kind of odd that they got married on June 1st, World Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day. Either it's a huge coincidence or he's just trolling everyone. And there seems to be a lot of coincidences in this story that just keep unfolding. But I think that it's JP just trolling us. He has a really sick sense of humor, if you haven't noticed. I mean, if you listen to his sermons, they seem pretty a little twisted. But yeah, I think he is just trolling us. I mean, remember how he temporarily changed the name of the church to Leave It in the Water? Just to piss everybody off. That's so twisted, and that takes a psychopath to do something like that. That's so morbid. And now we know the type of person JP is. He probably thought it was so hilarious, which, yeah, it kind of tells you the type of person that we're dealing with. He is very disturbed. In the picture of him and Suzie, he's standing in front of Suzie and she's standing behind him. That was intentional. That was a narcissistic move. He obviously asked the photographer to get that shot. And then he chose for it to go out to the world because he wanted to piss everybody off. I've never seen a wedding photo like that before, where the husband is walking ahead of the bride. That's just, I mean, it's so narcissistic. I think in some of the sermons, I don't know if anyone remembers, he's stated about the men always being the head of the household and how the women have to go behind the men, or the women serving the men, doing as they're told. And think about Suzie here. She married the guy who killed her husband. I say that because whether it was direct or indirect, Chris is dead. And he's dead because of JP. JP inserted himself aggressively into Chris's life, trying to be his friend, to steal his wife. Knowing that Chris couldn't do anything about it. It's like stealing candy from a baby or like robbing an elderly person. It's the most despicable behavior I've ever seen. None of the kids were at the wedding. Not JP's, not Susie's. Of course, Susie's kids aren't going to be there. I'm sure they hate JP. I mean, this guy who's responsible for the death of their father, why would they want to go? I can't imagine why would they want to go. The guy was a complete jerk. He threatened Susie's son. He threatened him that he was going to send him to military school because he stood up to him. This guy who inserted himself into their family just comes and tries to steal the role as their dad, tries to steal their dad's place, and threatens to send their son to military school. Even JP's kids aren't there. Even JP's son, not any of his kids, but Logan, the eldest son, wasn't even there, which I thought that he had fixed that relationship. Why wasn't Logan there? Makes me wonder what happened with that relationship. I mean, knowing how disturbed JP is, one can guess. Did anybody notice or ever heard of anyone from Susie's side of the family to back up any of her stories? I mean, we haven't heard anything about Susie's side of the family. Where's her mom and where's her dad? Or any siblings? Could it be that JP has a habit of targeting women who are from broken families? So they have nobody to turn to when JP does his thing? Well, anyways, I thought that was odd that we haven't heard of anyone from Susie's side of the family. Trisha's there. Of course, Trisha's there. Trish is there, still supporting the man that she knows is responsible for Chris and Micah's death. She knew there was even a note. She told her daughter there was a note, and then she chose to hide that information from the police and detectives. I mean, let's not forget, she is the person who does all the paperwork for JP. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about the fact that Trish knows that there is a note. She knew that there was a note that Chris left, and she didn't mention it at all to the detective or a police officer or the coroner. She chose to hide that information. Why'd she do that? Makes me wonder, what else are they hiding? I bet there's so much that we all don't know that she's hiding. I find it so odd that the detective didn't bring up, at least didn't talk more or go into a note being left behind. I'm just surprised that more people aren't talking about that interview of Trisha's daughter talking about how there was a note. It's so wild. Didn't it sound like they were only asking people who were interviewed if they were up for it? What kind of investigation is that? What kind of investigating is that if they were up for it? Like, who asks people that you're about to interview for a possible suicide or maybe something that could be even more than a suicide, a possible murder? Hey, if you're up for it, if you're up for doing an interview, what kind of investigating is that? What kind of... I can just go on and on and on about how absurd that detective was. And it was just clear. It was obvious that there's so much corruption. Listening to how that detective talked to all of Chris's family and how he talked to Susie, it was just... and how he seemed like he was talking for the coroner, it just seemed like there's obvious corruption, no doubt about it. It's like JP is the Epstein. JP is the Epstein of Myrtle Beach. How absurd is that? It's like, what does JP have on these cops? What information does he have on them? Well, anyways, JP likes to tend to get with married women. That seems like that's his thing. I honestly think that JP didn't want to marry Susie. I don't know if anyone got that feeling when watching that, like, little clips of that wedding and seeing, reading JP's face. It just seemed like he didn't want to marry the girl that he ruined the family of, because it seems like it's a game for JP to destroy people's lives. I mean, he literally married his best friend's wife. And then when he finally got Mica and he ruined the friendship with his best friend to get his wife, he didn't want to marry her in the beginning. He wanted to get back with Allison. He wanted to fix that relationship. And it makes me think that he really didn't want to marry Susie. He even said, he's mentioned before that Susie was too old for him. So yeah, and just the body language. I know he proposed to her on the beach, but I mean, like, I think knowing who JP is now, everything he does is calculated. He thinks about things thoroughly. I mean, he doesn't think too thoroughly because all his interviews are ridiculous. But we have heard JP talk about what he thinks of people. He thinks he thinks the mass majority of people are stupid. He thinks that, yeah, he can get away with pretty much anything. Yeah, anyways, yeah, he got with his best friend's, he took his best friend's wife. Then he tried to hook up with his best friend at that time, which was Micah's first husband's mom, which there's an interview. I don't know if you've even seen it, but the dad was being interviewed and he said, yeah, that JP would call around 2 in the morning. And why would he call around 2 in the morning? He'd be texting and calling her. And then the husband, he told JP to leave his wife alone, stop calling at 2 in the morning. So he goes and tells JP, okay, I'm sorry, just leave my wife alone. So JP writes this list of things for him to do, for him to come back to the church. What narcissistic move. Is that so disgusting and it's so despicable, you know? And this man is supposed to be the leader of a church? Attempted murder, sexual assault, multiple affairs with married women, and each one of those, he was also married. Absurd sexual perversions, prostitutes, even with animals. It's literally gross even talking about it. A pastor is supposed to be a leader of his community and have good morals and ethics. A pastor is supposed to lead his congregation. This guy was involved in the most debauchery and sin that I have ever heard of, and it's so ridiculous. Imagine knowing all of this about him and deciding to marry this grotesque monster and thinking, what a catch. What a catch he is. Yeah. Let's talk about it in the comments. I'll talk to you guys later.